for Crawford?
No. Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money? You think he had a chance to win?
Gervonta and Terence Crawford are at it again, and this time, the verbal punches are just as intense as any knockout. Their ongoing beef has been simmering for a while, but Tank's latest remarks about Crawford's upcoming fight with Canelo have reignited the flames. Crawford is set to move up to weight classes to face Canelo later this year. About that, many in the boxing world view as a major challenge. Adding 14 pounds to take on a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo is no easy feat, but Crawford has made his intentions clear.
I lead with ego. Like if you hear somebody like Tank say 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking, you know.
I want to challenge myself. Canelo is an exceptional fighter, an all-time great, one of the best to come from Mexico. I consider myself one of the all-time greats, so why not? Why not test myself? History says that big chances lead to big rewards. I'm after that big reward. Crawford emphasized that this fight is about his legacy, about testing himself against one of the sport's best. But Tank Davis didn't buy into that reasoning. He wasn't impressed with Crawford's rationale and made sure to voice his opinion on the matter. Crawford needs the money. That wasn't a question or speculation. Tank said it as if it were a fact, implying that Crawford's main motivation for taking the fight was a big payday. And that was only the beginning. Tank didn't just accuse him of chasing money, he also criticized how Crawford has looked physically in the ring. He needs the money, I'm telling you. He's a good fighter, but smaller fighters are always better than bigger ones because they know how to move. But didn't he get clipped by Gamboa? How the hell is he looking this strong lately? He hasn't been getting clipped or anything. That snack stuff, I'm telling you, you'll laugh.
Somebody asked Lomachenko.
No.
All right.
Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready. What you think about that? Oh, Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris.
Tank wasn't just questioning Crawford's strength, he was suggesting something suspicious. He mentioned Yuriorkis Gamboa, a fighter who hurt Crawford in the past, and questioned how Crawford could look so dominant recently. To make his point clearer, Tank brought up Snack. Victor Connie's Snack nutrition program has a history in boxing, though not always in a positive light. Whenever a fighter is linked to it, there's often a whisper about performance enhancers and the legitimacy of their strength. Tank didn't directly accuse Crawford, but by mentioning it, he certainly implied something was off and wanted others to question how Crawford has been performing.
Victor Conti. He went to jail, right? Victor Conti? Yeah. And he the owner of the snack shit, right? And he went to jail. Now it's like, you know, you see, I don't want to throw him out of the bus, but you see.
Crawford wasn't going to let those comments slide. He fired back, and this time, he went straight for Tank's ego. Why is he talking like he's the greatest in the sport? The little guy hasn't even fought anyone of note. The fans know it. We know it. Crawford wasn't just replying, he was reminding everyone that Tank hasn't faced the caliber of opponents he has. As big as Tank is in boxing, the major criticism against him has always been the lack of big names on his resume. He hasn't fought Devin Haney, Shaka Stevenson, or Vasily Lomachenko. Fans have called him out for this for years, and Crawford made sure to highlight this fall.
What champ? Come on, man. Tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm going to come up here where the big boys at.
All right.
And Crawford didn't stop there. He went even further, asserting that Tank hasn't been tested the way he has. The only way Tank will learn his lesson is if he gets dropped by his opponent. Crawford wasn't just talking about fights, he was talking about humbling experiences, the kind Tank hasn't faced yet. Crawford has fought top-tier fighters, been hurt in the ring, battled through adversity, and come out on top. Tank, on the other hand, hasn't experienced the same type of challenges. To hammer his point home, he threw his support behind Lamont Roach, the fighter Tank is set to face next. The guy Tank's fighting, Lamont, he's got more balls than Tank will ever have.
He can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes and, you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
You got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin. So tell him to come and touch him.
Wow.
Crawford didn't just praise Roach. He used him as a way to call out Tank's approach to boxing. He argued that Roach, a fighter with far less fame and fewer paydays, is willing to take more risks than Tank has ever been. That's a direct jab because Tank doesn't want to be seen as a fighter who plays it safe. According to Crawford, LaMontrOACH is picking tougher opponents than Tank does, so Tank shouldn't claim that other fighters are just in it for the money. That's the irony Crawford wanted to expose, while Tank was accusing Crawford of fighting for money. Crawford flipped it right back at him. You're the one picking opponents carefully. You're the one avoiding the biggest challenges. You're the one ensuring every fight you take is the safest route to the cash. Tank knew exactly what he was doing by making those comments. He wanted to steer the narrative, to make people question why Crawford took this fight. Was it really about legacy, or just about the money? And by bringing up Snack, Tank tried to stir doubts about how Crawford has been performing in the ring, but Crawford didn't sit quietly. He responded, hitting Tank where it hurt. And with how things are escalating, this rivalry doesn't look like it's going to die down anytime soon.
I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
147?
147.
I tap that chain, you know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
Tank has always been someone who follows his own path. While other boxing stars are chasing massive paydays in Saudi Arabia, Tank is staying put in the U.S., refusing to let outsiders control the sport. He watches as big names like Crawford, Canelo, and Benavidez sign big deals and fight across the world. But Tank, he's not interested. He's building his own empire and isn't letting anyone dictate his moves for him. It's not just about the money, it's about preserving the integrity of boxing. And after seeing what happened at the recent Saudi Arabia event, he's more confident than ever that staying in the US was the right decision. You saw the guy. Alaushik was looking at the scorecards. That wasn't just an offhand comment. Tank was calling out something he felt was deeply wrong. During the Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz fight, Alaushik was caught on camera standing behind Shiraz's corner, signaling to fingers. Many believe this was a signal that Shiraz needed a knockout to win. The fight ended in a highly questionable draw, allowing Adames to retain his WBC middleweight title. The WBC and the British Boxing Board of Control tried to dismiss it, claiming that Alaushik couldn't have seen the scorecards, but Tank wasn't buying it. He saw what he saw. If the sport's top players are willing to overlook it, it only confirms his suspicions.
Terence Crawford is good, but he's not what people make him the same. He's not pound for pound.
Davis doesn't need to go anywhere. He's already a star. His upcoming fight against LaMontrOACH Jr. is expected to break records at Brooklyn's Barclays Center, making it the highest-grossing live boxing event in the venue since his last fight there 3 years ago. He's the top draw in the lightweight division, with major fights lined up in the future. Lomachenko, Stevenson, Garcia multi-million-dollar bouts waiting to happen. But the real question is, will those fights even happen in the US? Saudi Arabia is taking over boxing. Canelo Alvarez just signed a 4-fight deal with Alaushik, agreeing to at least 3 fights there, even skipping his traditional Cinco de Mayo bout in Las Vegas. Terence Crawford is set to fight in Saudi Arabia in September. David Benavidez, after saying he'd stay in the US, was recently spotted with Alaushik. Oscar De La Hoya has taken a massive Latino fight night to Saudi Arabia, instead of hosting it in American cities. The US is losing its hold on big-time boxing, and Tank is one of the last stars standing. Not all money is good money. He says fighters are chasing huge Saudi paychecks, but at what cost? Control, influence, the ability to dictate their own careers. Tank sees the shift happening, but refuses to follow the crowd.
What I care about these titles for? You can't eat no belt.
Makeup covers up a lot of imperfections. Matchmaking can do the same thing. What are you scared of? In this sport, it's like your job never done it. Anybody could be undisputed in the right fight.
You want me to go sell a title that I didn't work my whole life for, but boxers do that.
How can it?
Canelo is a natural super middleweight who has even fought at light heavyweight, while Crawford, despite his greatness, is a welterweight. In any other era, this fight wouldn't even be considered. But Alaushik is making it happen not because it makes sense for the sport, but because he can. And now there are talks of him creating new boxing leagues, completely changing the structure of the sport. He has already backed a WBC league for young fighters, and insiders say another league is coming soon. Tank believes this is exactly why. He's staying away. He thinks the sport is being reshaped by someone who doesn't understand it. He sees fighters lining up, chasing paychecks without asking questions, and he refuses to follow that path.
Because right now, Saudi Arabia is swallowing up the sport. Canelo Alvarez just signed a 4-fight.
Everyone's going over there, Tank says. He keeps saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but he doesn't know anything about the sport. How's he going to do that? Tank is frustrated because he sees the biggest names in boxing selling out, with no one questioning whether it's good for the sport. The reality is, Tank is in a rare position. He's one of the few fighters who can afford to take this stand. Most boxers don't have the luxury of turning down massive paydays. But Tank, he's one of the highest paid fighters in the world. He sells out arenas. His pay-per-view numbers are huge. He has financial security.
Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens? Or is it like...
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
It's not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him.
Tank has a vision. He wants to be the face of boxing in America. He wants to keep the sport alive in places like Vegas, New York, and Los Angeles. He wants the biggest fights to take place on home soil, not halfway across the world under rules and conditions he doesn't trust. That's why his fight against Roach Jr. matters. It's not just about defending his title, it's about proving that boxing in the US is still strong, that a fighter could be a huge star without taking Saudi money, and that American boxing still has a future. But after this fight, what happens next?
Send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it. He said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him,
Terence Crawford doesn't just view Gervonta Davis as another fighter or champion. He sees him as something much deeper. It's not about competition or debates on weight classes. It's about who Davis is as a person, and that's where Crawford draws the line. In an interview with Cigar Talk, he didn't hold back. There were no sugar-coated answers, no forced respect. Crawford made it clear he doesn't like Gervonta Davis.
Davis, he said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it.
Not one bit. Not because of anything Davis has done to him personally, but because of his attitude, arrogance, fame, and what Crawford perceives as false confidence shielded by money and bodyguards. Man, I just really don't like that dude. I don't like him. I really don't like him. I don't like anything about him. This wasn't just hype for a potential fight, this was real, personal disdain. It's rare to hear a fighter speak so openly about another, especially when they don't even compete in the same division, but Crawford doesn't bite his tongue or pretend to respect someone just because they're in the same sport.
If not, y'all gonna give it to him. So that's what made me like, oh yeah, I see what's going on. So now, give me 2 or 4 or 3 Ferraris. If not, ain't no point in me going over there for. Y'all got the money to do it.
2, 3, 4 Ferraris. Because I heard you said 2 after.
To Crawford, Davis is a fighter who thrives on his public image as superstar, who plays up his tough guy persona, but wouldn't act the same way without his security and cameras. It's not about Davis's skills in the ring. Crawford actually gives him credit for that. It's about his behavior, attitude, and how he carries himself outside of boxing. Davis, of course, didn't take it lightly. As soon as Crawford's comments hit social media, Tank fired back with a post as direct as Crawford's interview, but in true Tank fashion, it was deleted almost immediately. That's Davis's style: throw a shot, then pull back just enough to get people talking, but not keep the conversation going forever.
I mean, I was advised that. When my judge told that was the first time I've been, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So,
obviously, Drake and Kendrick, nigga, that's the hottest shit in the culture right now. Drake and Kendrick went at it. Everybody talking about it. When you listen to these records, what you feel? Like how who's winning? Like what Tank is listening to right now?
I ain't listen to it.
Even though the post was deleted, the tension is still there. This isn't their first clash. Their online back and forths are well known. There's always been an underlying hostility, but this time, Crawford took it beyond social media jabs. He laid it all out in a full interview, making it clear this isn't just about boxing, it's personal. And this rivalry heats up even more when you consider the other major issue between them, Shocker Stevenson.
I just don't like how this guy come in the game and he don't know nothing about the sport. Like he don't know nothing about the sport. And everybody going over like he wasn't even picking, like at first he wasn't even picking people that know stuff about the sport and position. He was just saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do.
Stevenson is Crawford's guy. They've been close for years, and it's no secret that Crawford has mentored and supported him throughout his rise. So, when the potential matchup between Stevenson and Davis came up, there was no doubt about who Crawford was backing. But it wasn't just about loyalty. Crawford genuinely believes Stevenson is the better fighter. Let's take his personality and personal issues out of it. But in boxing, he's definitely talented. He's respected. But Shocker, he's different.
Are you just not interested in fighting over there?
It's not that, but they came at me wrong the first time they ever came at me, which they said I will fight Devin, and then when he was saying like Devin was his guy, so I'm like, if Devin your guy, y'all gotta pay me.
Crawford didn't say Davis wasn't great. He didn't downplay his skills, but he did emphasize that Davis has never faced someone like Stevenson. He reminded everyone how people once criticized Floyd Mayweather for being boring and questioned his power just like they do with Stevenson, but Floyd was a defensive genius, and Crawford believes Stevenson is cut from the same cloth. The difference? Davis won't be able to hit Stevenson the way he hits everyone else.
Shakur against Tank.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, you and Canelo Alvarez were not on the same page last year. Now you are. Gervonta Davis, you're giving an invitation to Gervonta Davis.
I don't take anything as a personal. I take it as I am professional.
Right.
This isn't the first time someone has said Davis would struggle against a slick, technical boxer. They said the same before his fight with Hector Luis Garcia, and again before Ryan Garcia, and yet, both were stopped. But what do you think about Crawford's comments? Let us know your thoughts below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.
If we was to fight right now on the streets, I'll break your fucking neck. And that's on my kids. And you know it, I know it, and the whole world know it. And I'm not talking about no fighting in the ring. If me and you was to fight outside, I will break